But there's been a discussion around Avowed being a quote unquote Skyrim killer. And I thought it was a pretty interesting discussion. Because Rock Solid here, which is a shitpost rock, that said so-called Skyrim killer. And was basically comparing in-game right now with Skyrim versus Avowed, which Avowed in comparison to really most Bethesda open world RPG games, excuse me, is kind of low. Avowed in-game right now, we have 14,000 in-game. Let's compare to Starfield. Oof. Yeah, Starfield didn't last the test of time. I think it's fair to say. Holy shit. So that's the numbers for Starfield. Avowed is 14,000 right now. Did you see Red Dwagon posting about static NPCs? Damn. He ratioed his ass. Nice, bro. I didn't see it, but if you want to post it, I'll check it out. Inform me. We got Alright, so Solid Rock here says, favorite part of playing Avowed for me was realizing that no NPCs are programmed to wander around the town at all. 2025 gaming on full display. I mean, if that's the case, I mean, bro, most people are fucking couch potatoes these days. If that's the case, I mean, I can't say for sure, but I don't really think it's a big deal. I mean, it can be noticeable if that's true, but I don't really care so much. All right, so then we have the Red Dwagon, who says lazy Game Pass slop that's missing basic features that have been in games for decades. Embarrassing, but this is Xbox. Oh my god. Is it really that big of a deal? Do you really need the NPC to walk in the game? Is that what's gonna make you happy? Is that what's gonna fulfill your life, bro? Then we have Power Boss, whose response is, so, by your logic, these 5 PlayStation games are also embarrassing, right? Ghost of Tsushima, The Last Guardian, Bloodborne, Demon's Souls 2019 remake, mind you, and GT7. Oh my. Oh my. That's crazy. Oof. That's big yikes. I mean, yeah, Demon's Souls, the NPCs don't really walk around. Bloodborne, the same thing. Like those Soulsborne games, the NPCs are pretty stagnant. They kind of just stay in one spot and expect you to talk to them. Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, I don't really. Yeah, like side like NPC character. I mean, it doesn't really. It's like some games they don't walk around. And like, is it a bit unusual for the games like Avowed? Perhaps, yeah. I think it's a little bit unusual that the NPCs are kind of staying in one spot. But I don't really think that's much of a problem. Would it be objectively better if they walked around? It would give you the wait, hold on. Oh, is that a friendly dude that's following you?
That's actually crazy. Static NPCs. Oh my. That's actually
Alright, so that dude's following you around, so.
Hola, papi cholo.
If it means NPCs aren't blocking off areas, good.
Yeah, that's true too. You're not lying. Yeah, I just don't. This isn't a make or break. This isn't something that anybody's going to deduct points for. Would perhaps a town feel a little bit less lively? Yeah, but I don't think that having like what is it, like a fucking dozen NPCs walking around is going to make anything like objectively better. Oblivion, they do, and they have schedules too. It's true. Absolutely. But even then, it's like, it's cool, but it's not make or break for a game. There was a simple grok input as well. Damn. Wow. So Froggy is asking, why have some made Avowed such a huge culture war narrative? So the reason why is because the art director decided to get out of pocket. And really what happened was he said some slick shit about Elon Musk and that he wanted to deliberately make the game so that he would hate it. You know, like a spiteful statement. And that is, you know, it basically Elon Musk acknowledged Avowed's existence.
Hola, papi cholo.
Oh wow, an NPC did a thing. Are you hoo?
I know, right? It's crazy, right? Golden apples. So like, yeah, so that's what made it become a culture war, like discussion or back and forth. You know, like not. Here's the thing. There's such a variety of RPG games that naturally a lot of them are fighting for people's time. That's what it is. It's fighting for people's time, and it's completely fair that this one doesn't appeal to you. There's so many other RPG games out there that are coming out every fucking month now. It's like it's like we're getting RPG games are being rained on us. It's quite frankly like overbearing. Like I can't keep up. You know, I'm at this point trying to figure out which game really appeals to my personal preferences so that I can run through and play. Because I know that if I dedicate myself to an RPG game, that I'm going to spend a lot of time in it. Like a lot of time. So that's the struggle. It's like which one, it's not even necessarily which one is better. It's more so which one appeals more to my personal taste. And my personal taste isn't necessarily good. It's not necessarily bad. It's just my personal taste, what I prefer. So that's what I've been trying to figure out lately in terms of all the RPG games that are coming out. Like, which one am I going to fully dedicate all this time, all the free time that I do have to it? And I'm kind of like figuring out whether I want to play. Right now, I'm trying to figure out if I want to play Avowed, if I want to play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, or if I want to play Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. That's what I'm trying to figure out. And some of these games are like, to me, I think Kingdom Come Deliverance is the higher quality video game overall. But I don't know which one I'm going to prefer. And we'll see what happens. So that's just what it is, man. Unfortunately, a lot of these games are being forced into the culture war for many different reasons. Kingdom Come Deliverance, as well as Avowed. And it's very petty. And it's not even necessarily to have the truth or to have nuance. It's more so just like, it's just overall just stupid shit. Stupid shit. Yeah, I don't think anyone was really saying that Avowed is a Skyrim killer. But there is a history of Obsidian wanting to make an Elder Scrolls game. And I think it's fair to say that Avowed was their attempt at that. I think that that's fair, but to say that they were going to make a Skyrim killer, I think is overboard as fuck. I think it's fairly clear that that's a bit fucking over the top. Like, nobody was here to say that Avowed was going to be a Skyrim killer. No one had such high hopes for Obsidian. I think a lot of people are overplaying Obsidian as a developer. They've always been relatively AA in the space. The only reason why Obsidian does get love and admiration is because of their connection with Fallout. But if you take the fact that they're connected with Fallout, having made Fallout New Vegas, if you take that out of the discussion, like Obsidian is very obscure and double A and niche in nature as a developer. Like acting like Obsidian is a top tier game dev, I think is definitely overstating. Not to take away their accomplishments, but they've always been a relatively small dev team. The Skyrim killer was only from Kids Move, and Kids Move obviously clout chasing, like he's trying to say something particularly, how do you say, like he definitely went out of his bag to say something that was going to get attention in order to try and promote his game. I mean, his video reviewing the game, right? But Alex is correct here. No one said Avowed is a Skyrim killer. Y'all are fucking stupid. And someone did bring up Kiss Move's post. I don't know if it's still here or if it's deleted, but no one said Avowed is a Skyrim killer, and Kiss Move posted this, which was silly. Clearly it was specifically to get a reaction. That's the only reason why he did that. Avowed, the Skyrim killer reaches major sales milestone before release. This is from EGW News. I don't even know what the fuck that is. Has Avowed become a Skyrim killer? Like, people always want to say it's a this killer or that killer. I don't think anyone was thinking that Avowed, even if it was a 10 out of 10 video game, was going to outdo Skyrim. At what point... Look, guys. Avowed, I mean... I think Skyrim is overhyped. Absolutely. To an insane extent. But the reality is that it still holds so much mindshare in gaming. Despite what I think about it. I just think it's a great game. It's simple. Yeah, that's fair. People always want to try and compare something to something else and say, like, oh, it's gonna dethrone like the big game. Right? And I just think that no matter what, Skyrim is just always gonna hold that top tier position. No matter what I think about it. Skyrim is a good game, janky, but 1000% better with mods. Remember when Killzone was labeled as a Halo killer back in the mid-2000s? Yeah, there's so many examples of every game being labeled a this killer, a that killer, and just about all of them fall short. The only killer these games end up being, like the only true killers of a franchise tends to be the actual franchise itself. Like, I think Halo is a Halo killer at this point. Like, modern day Halo is a Halo killer. You know what I mean? Like, these franchises have always been able to hold their own when put up against other games from other creators. It's really the franchise eating itself alive that tends to be the quote-unquote killer of a franchise. So I don't, there's these obscure places that are calling Avowed a Halo, the Halo killer that failed. But yeah, they're all obscure in nature. And I mean, I guess I'm curious. Yo, Big Cloud, what's good, my man? Shout out to Big Cloud, has been a member for 7 months. Appreciate you, dog. Appreciate you, dog. Let's see. Kiss Move. We are so, and mind you, I think he changed the title of the video. Either that or that was the title, but then on Twitter he got saucy with it. But let's be real now. Are we saying that a content creator that made a review of a game that got less than 1,000 views for his review, we're saying that he dictates the way the game is marketed? I think that's kind of crazy. You know what I mean? That's kind of fucking crazy. Kids Move all of a sudden dictates the entire trajectory of a video game. Apparently that's the thing. That's kind of crazy. His thumbnail makes him look like he hit. Oh my god, Slashy. Are you good, brother? So yeah. That is very fucking unrealistic to say. But I will say this. Obsidian for a long time has wanted to make their own Elder Scrolls game. And this was their attempt. And so far, from what I've gathered, it's been rather mixed. We could look at them in the past. We could look at their video introducing Avowed. it seemed to be more in the lines of an Elder Scrolls-ish game, but more mythical, I guess you could say. You know, its own little twist. Like a lot of people will say, like, the Outer Worlds is Fallout in space. That was what a lot of people said, and what I say the game is kind of like. It's a 7 out of 10 from you. So the and I believe Fergus is the yeah. Let me see. So Fergus, I can't even pronounce this dude's name, but he's the CEO of Obsidian Entertainment. He confirmed that Avowed was originally planned to be the studio's version of Skyrim, and for a long time they did want to make their version of Skyrim. Avowed is a 9.5 out of 10 from you. That's what's up. I don't know what to think of the game. I'm going to play it and judge for myself because I've been like, I low-key want to play it, but there's some things I don't like about it, and there's some things that I find interesting. But over time, however, the developers decided to focus more on the storytelling. So originally, the original intent was to be like an Elder Scrolls, you know, sort of inspired, not Elder Scrolls inspired game, but they wanted to make an Elder Scrolls game. They said originally we were pitched in essence our Skyrim. We were pitching in essence our Skyrim. I think over the course of time, as we worked on it, Bethesda makes an awesome Skyrim, Mojang makes an awesome Minecraft, and Turn 10 makes awesome racing games. What we do is we make awesome RPGs, right? However, as time progressed, reevaluated their approach and opted to concentrate on their core strength, storytelling. That's when we backed up and said, again, what are we good at? What's our lane? Outer Worlds is the latest example of that. And even Pillars. Pillars is less linear than Outer Worlds. But it's still a game that has you go through a story. And Pillars of Eternity 2, even less linear, but still, again, you have this core story as you're going. The CEO also noted the upcoming RPG will most likely be relatively smaller in scale compared to Skyrim, focusing more on narrative companions and story. In my opinion, when it came to the Outer Worlds, I think the weakest part of it was the companions in terms of how they benefit you in the process of navigating the world. I think that was really weak. Now, their stories, some better than others, you know, their backstories. He said we could go off and create a giant open world and then deal with all the consequences of that, because that makes it a different style game. But we want to tell a confined stories that the player can experience and their companions, and then move from part of the world to part of the world. And like I said, in the end, that's us. And I always was okay with their hub world model. That didn't bother me at all. For the Outer Worlds, I thought it was good because I wanted to play a story that felt fulfilling, that I felt I made a difference in with the choices that were presented. No romance didn't help. I don't think that an RPG has to have romance to be compelling. Karma said, one tip for Avowed, you won't start finding loot or better until you have your first bought version. What is it? What do you mean by first bought version? I don't know much about Avowed. I've actually been kind of like, I've been staying away from people's opinions, but I've been kind of watching a little bit in terms of gameplay. But here's also another interesting article. Obsidian proposed making an Elder Scrolls game, but Bethesda said no. I never got the impression Bethesda was happy with Fallout New Vegas's reception. So I don't like Bethesda. Definitely, I think was afraid of being upstaged by Obsidian. But that's the thing. Obsidian was always AA in nature, and I think that when they got a better reception making a Fallout game than Bethesda themselves with their in-house, I think Bethesda genuinely felt some type of way because Obsidian was always a AA studio. Former Obsidian Entertainment writer and developer Chris Avallone has taken to X to talk about the proposal he made for Bethesda while at the studio. So this is coming from, the writer, former writer and developer from Obsidian. So there's that. But yeah, I don't think anybody within reason ever said that Avowed was supposed to be a Skyrim killer. A lot of people have kind of gave Obsidian too much credit to try and make them look like they failed. Because I don't think Avowed is necessarily a failure, but if you're going to compare it to Skyrim, then of course it's going to look like a failure. What are we doing? Now, we'll say this. The price of Avowed is fucking retarded. I think Avowed is overpriced as shit. I don't think that it's a $70 game. It does not look like a $70 video game to me. And given it does have some launch issues, that all the more just says to me it's not a $70 game. I mean, to be fair, yes, I don't think any game should be $70, but when I'm looking at first impressions quality-wise, this is not a $70 game. Especially when it's based off of a franchise that's always been a reasonably priced niche franchise in Pillars of Eternity. This is a ridiculous price point to me. I think this is what's making the entry point, at least on Steam, very low. I think that if it was a $50 game, we'd be seeing better numbers. Like, you can have a game that offers a lot of time. And given a lot of people seem to be liking the game. There's people in the chat like Power Boss, like Spectre, they're enjoying their time with the game. But when you're asking $70, which is already to me over ask, just right then and there. When I look at the game and I just look at the style and I look at the price point and I look at the fact that it's attached to a very niche franchise in Pillars of Eternity, I say that this is not a $70 game. Sorry. Yeah, it is an over ask. It's not even, I was gonna say it's a big ask, but you're actually right, John. It is an over ask. Avowed was too pretentious and tried to raise the standard from AA and AAA, and with the price it. See, to me, Avowed is Microsoft's what is a good comparison for this? I think that let me see. A good comparison. I forget the name of the fucking game. To me, when I think of Avowed in the price point, I think of Returnal. I think of when Returnal came out at $70, and I'm like, this looks like a decent game, but not for $70 fucking dollars. Not from a AA developer in Housemarque, even though I think Housemarque is a very competent AA developer, but they're still AA, and Returnal is still a AA roguelike bullet hell game. It just looks a little bit fancier. Like, I feel like Avowed is the same situation, which it is a AA game. It is coming from a studio that we do respect, but they are AA in nature. And it's priced at $70. I think it's the same fucking situation. I think that if Avowed and Returnal were both priced at release at $50, I think that they would have been so much more successful. I think that it would have been so much more reasonable. I think that a lot of the negativity towards these games would have been alleviated if the price was more reasonable. Most games here are pretty standard at about 100, though that's $62 US. Big Ship, if you don't mind, where are you at? I'm not too sure. I'm curious as to where you reside. No game's worth $70. You know, I don't think games should be priced at $70, but I do think that there are games that, at least on paper, I got $70 worth. You know what I mean? There's some games that are priced at $60 and $50 that I got $70 worth of fucking, of playtime out of easily. But yeah, I think that Avowed is Microsoft's Returnal. I think it's the same situation playing out all over again, and it's to the detriment of the game because Returnal did not sell well. It was a new IP that I think could have did so much better if it was priced accordingly.